Hey guys, Moniz here. Have you ever wanted a MacBook Pro but didn't want to pay the crazy costs to buy one, and at the same time you still wanted to run Windows 10? Well, this laptop right here is the answer for you. Costs $850, comes packed with great specs, and looks exactly like the MacBook Pro. This is the Xiaomi Mi NoteBook Pro, and it's a very good laptop. Not only does it have an all-metal design, there's no logos on the lid, so it looks super clean. Even the way you open this up, you can open it up with one hand, just like the MacBook Pro, and the indent on the deck is the same design as the MacBook Pro. Now, how many times have I said MacBook Pro? Quite a bit. I think you're getting the point of this video. In terms of weight, it weighs the exact same weight as the MacBook Pro, and it's also very similar to the Dell XPS 15. In fact, it's only a little bit thicker than the MacBook Pro. Now, I do want to mention one thing. The build quality is not as good, but it's still great. I mean, this thing is very durable, it's solid. Just little things, like this is not a unibody design. The edges are very, very sharp. In fact, they're so sharp that I can probably peel a potato on the sides. Thankfully, your wrists don't rest on it, so you don't have to worry about hurting yourself after hours of using the laptop. In terms of ports, on the left-hand side, you have a full-size HDMI port, two USB 3.0 ports, and an audio jack. And on the right-hand side, you have two USB Type-C ports and a full-size SD card slot, which is a nice addition. Now, these USB Type-C ports, they're not Thunderbolt 3, so you're not gonna get those super fast speeds. And only one of these ports can charge the laptop, which also happens to be the port that allows you to connect an external monitor. So if you wanna charge it at the same time and connect a monitor, you're gonna have to buy a dongle for that. Getting inside is super easy. Once you're in, the only thing you have really access to are two M.2 SSD slots. The first one has an NVMe drive, you get great speeds. It's only 256 gigabytes, so that's not enough. You can always replace it for something bigger. And if you want to add more storage, there's an empty slot on the right-hand side to place a second M.2 SSD drive. The display on this is not too bad. There's very little screen flex. The hinge is nice and stiff, very reminiscent of the Dell XPS 15, and the actual bezels are not too thick. The only problem is you can only get this with a full HD display, so 1920 by 1080. This has a dedicated GPU, so I would have loved to see some higher res options because I think content creators would be more drawn to it. I'd rather edit a photo on a MacBook Pro than I would on this laptop. Now, not to say it's a terrible display, it's more than fine for day-to-day use. I just think if you're buying this to do content creation, you would have loved the option of having a higher res display. Sound is coming out of two 2.5 watt speakers out on the bottom of this laptop. They're fine-tuned by Harman Kardon, but they're not the greatest speakers. In fact, there's absolutely no bass present whatsoever, so not even comparable to the MacBook Pro. In fact, they're only loud enough to fill up a small room, and if you like treble, that's all you're gonna hear. These things are maxed out with treble, so very high highs. The keyboard too is a blatant copy of the MacBook Pro. In fact, it's the exact same keyboard that you get on a MacBook about 2 generations ago prior to the butterfly switches. The color is the same, the font's the same, but the typing experience is actually really good. In fact, there's just enough actuation to feel comfortable when you press it. Has 1.5 millimeters of travel distance. Overall, I'm pretty impressed. In fact, this keyboard is better than the one on the Dell XPS 15. Same holds true for the trackpad. I was super shocked to use this. It's very spacious, has lots of rooms to move around, gestures are accurate, and it uses Windows precision drivers. In fact, this is one of the better touchpads I've used on a Windows laptop. Performance is pretty good on this laptop. GearBest sent me the model with the i5-8250U processor, so you get 4 cores, which is up from 2 compared to last year's model. That means doing basic things like browsing the web, productivity tasks is gonna be pretty similar to last year's version. It's when you start to do things that require multi-core, like editing video or using Photoshop, that's when you see the huge speed increase using this year's model compared to last year. 4 cores help a lot, and the same holds true here. Now, this is paired with a dedicated GPU, the MX 150. So it's not nearly as fast as a GTX 1050, but it is capable to game very lightly. In fact, if you drop the settings in Overwatch to medium, you can still keep it at 1080p and get pretty good frame rates. Without the dedicated GPU, you can only do low settings and under 1080p. You can play PUBG on this thing as long as you have it on low, and same holds true for Fortnite. Heat management also impressed me with this laptop. Doesn't matter what stress test I used against this thing, it never thermal throttled, the CPU temps never got over 60, and the surface temperature stayed around 40 degrees Celsius. Very impressive impressed with its performance. Even sound is not that bad. On idle, you're getting around 35 to 36 decibels. When it's under full load, the fans kick in. You can hear it, but it's not overwhelming. You're only getting about 42 decibels. And finally, the battery life. Xiaomi didn't skimp out. They put a 60 watt-hour battery in here, so you're gonna get about 10 hours of use before needing to charge. Now, mind you, if you're gonna game on this thing, that's gonna be significantly reduced. But if you're just doing basic productivity tasks, watching movies and browsing the web, 10 hours is about what you're gonna get. So here are my closing thoughts. The Xiaomi Mi NoteBook Pro is a pretty impressive laptop for 850 bucks. You get good design, you get tons of ports, has good performance, great build quality, a great trackpad, and a fantastic keyboard. My only complaints are the fact that it looks like a MacBook Pro, and I wish they offered a version with a higher res display. Now, the other issue is getting this. You can't buy it in North America. It is going to be coming to North America sometime in the future, but for now you got to get it through overseas. I'll place a link to gearbest.com in the description down below if you're interested in purchasing it. Let me know what you guys think of the Xiaomi Mi NoteBook Pro in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. And as always, I will talk to you in the next video.